Hello YouTube, I'm finally joining the sea of talking heads. There's a lot of things that have been on my mind lately, and I've always wanted to talk about them, but I've been kind of scared, and I don't quite have the right people in my life that can kind of relate where I'm coming from. So, to the internet I go, and I stumbled across Bard Lover 108, and I really appreciate her videos. And while I don't identify as an atheist, I do share a lot of her concerns about fundamentalist Christianity and the effect it has on children growing up. And I do think there are a lot of issues that really need to be talked about. I guess in the past couple of years, I've realized that Christianity, there's so many schools of thought, and it's more than just the narrow fundamentalist beliefs I was raised to believe in. There are people who have a million different interpretations of scripture, of theology, and everything. There's a lot going on. So, and I mean, I've always known that, but I was raised that if you believed anything else other than my specific doctrine, the specific interpretation of this verse, of that verse, if you deviated from that interpretation in any way, then you were a Laodicean Christian. You were an apostate. You were backslidden. You were a false Christian. You were, part of the Laodicean church that would hang out with the Antichrist during the tribulation or something like that. So, you had to be very careful about what you believed about Christianity because you couldn't be a false Christian. Being a false Christian, the way I grew up, it was almost worse than being an atheist. Because at least there's a verse that says, be either hot or cold, not lukewarm. And if you were a Laodicean Christian, that was lukewarm. And at least if you were an atheist, you were cold, right? So, but I've taken a second look at a lot of these different interpretations of Christianity, and I'm still kind of working through it right now. I mean, it's been a real struggle for me because I've always been super passionate about politics, about theology, about philosophy, until I realized that, hey, I'm kind of just regurgitating everything I've been brainwashed with, pretty much. That's how it feels. It feels like I've been brainwashed. So I'm kind of looking at these alternative interpretations of Christianity and kind of, working my faith out. I don't know. I'm on a journey. I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't know what conclusions I'll come to. But I hope here I can kind of work through some of that, and maybe some of you can relate, and maybe some of you can talk back and we can have a conversation because, like I said, there's not many people in my life that can understand and relate to being homeschooled and where I come from. I don't come from the Bible Belt per se. There's not a whole lot of fundamentalist Christianity here, I don't think. I think a lot of it is more moderate. So, anyways, but thanks for watching. I hope you'll continue to check out my videos if you're interested by the little teaser I just gave of what I might be talking about in the future. And yeah, if you cover any of these topics of fundamentalist Christianity, homeschooling, and all that jazz, then let me know. Thanks for listening.